I hope that you have been being blessed thus far with all the videos that we've been sharing. Proverbs is such an amazing book, and we always encourage everyone to start their year off with this book of wisdom. So today I'm going to start with verse 8, but please remember, we want you to read the whole chapter because there's so much meat in the whole chapter. Verse 8, a man will be commended according to his wisdom, but he who is a perverse heart will be despised. Better is the one who is slighted, but has a servant, than he who honors himself, but lacks bread. A righteous man regards the life of his animal, but the tender mercies of the wicked are cruel. He who tills the land will be satisfied with bread, but he who follows frivolity is devoid of understanding. The wicked covet the catch of evil men, but the root of righteous yields fruit. The wicked is ensnared by the transgression of his lips, but the righteous will come through trouble. A man will be satisfied with good by the fruit of his mouth, and recompense of a man's hand will be rendered to him. The way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but he who heeds counsel is wise. A fool's wrath is known at once, but a prudent man covers shame. He who speaks truth declares righteousness, but a false witness deceit. There is one who speaks like the piercing of a sword, but the tongue of the wise promotes health. The truthful lips shall be established forever, but a lying tongue is but for a moment. And so I read to you all the way to verse 19. And so we see here that once again, we're speaking of wisdom, right? A person who will be commended according to his wisdom. You will be blessed. You will be raised up. You will be given your due recognition, you who are wise. But a person with a perverse heart, they will be despised by many. Even they may have ones that are cordial, but truly, in truth, they will be despised by many. The one who is slighted, it's better, but has a servant than he who honors himself and lacks bread. When I looked at that, I was like, wow, God, that's really interesting how the Bible said that, because what that simply means is this: a righteous man, a righteous person, righteous living, uh, they have a standard. And that standard is more practical in the world. That means that people will see your right living. People will see you for who you are. But a person who honors himself lacks bread. That's someone who's thinks they have a sense of honor or thinks that they deserve honor. I always use it like this. I've said this to people before. I, Pastor Delisa, would much rather have someone call me Delisa and honor me in the office of being a pastor, honor and respect me as such, than call me pastor and look at me with the eyes of, I don't know what kind of pastor that is, but their title is a pastor, so I'm going to just call them by that because that's what they say they are. But they don't regard or believe that to be who I am. And so it's very important when you come in contact with people, let them know who you are. They should be able to honor you for who you are and what you live out in this world, not just because of a title. A lot of people won't like that, but it's very true. A righteous man regards the life of his animal, but the tender mercies of the wicked are cruel. And when I thought about that, we are in a time where we love animals sometimes even more than we love humans. But the reality of the thing is that A righteous person is so sensitive. They're sensitive even to the needs and the care of their animal. But a man who is wicked, even in his kindness, it's regarded as evil for human beings. It's like they're unable to really show true kindness to others. They're still cruel to human beings, meaning they don't care. They have no regard for someone. They don't care if they slander. They don't care if they lie. They don't care if they mistreat you. They don't care if they backstab you. They don't care what they do. They are being cruel to humans, right? They have no regard for life or the people in this life. And so we realize he who tills the land will be satisfied with bread, but he who follows frivolity is devoid of understanding. And that just simply tells us that, you know what, you have to work in order to eat. If you think that you can get through this life without doing anything, with being lazy and not doing your part, it's really a wrong sense of thought process. Faith without works is dead. And so we must do our part. God requires us to do our part. And in it, it doesn't mean be lazy. A man will be satisfied with good by the fruit of his mouth, and recompense of a man's hand will be rendered unto him. We realize that each person will yield fruit, good or bad, depending on how you go about living this life, how you go about treating others. And so we realize that you will receive good or bad, whatever that is. You'll be rewarded for the work that you do. And so we don't really think about that a lot of times, but we have to understand that it's so important in being wise that the things that we say, it will produce fruit, one way or another, good or bad. Life and death, it's truly in the power of the tongue. And so when you think about that, you ought to always speak words of life, words of encouragement, not idle words, not words that you can't take back. Because once they're out there, you can't bring them back. I don't care how much you apologize or say sorry. When it's out there, it's out there. And I always say to people who sometimes, they say, well, I didn't mean it, or, they understood what I said. Well, who called children stupid, dumb, you're this or that? I have a big problem with that, because you're breathing these words of life to this child. And then we wonder why they go around acting stupid or acting dumb or acting foolish or whatever they may be doing. But you've forgotten that you've said this to them over and over and over. And so what's happening is you're producing that fruit to come forward, good or bad. Now, true, we have children that don't necessarily act as we would desire them to act, but the Bible says, speak those things that be not as though they were. And so therefore, if your child is wild, say, I thank you that I have a wise son. I have a wise daughter. I have a mature child. I have a loving child. I have a caring child. Speak words of life over that child. I promise you that you will see a change if you speak life and not death over their lives. And so, the way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but he who heeds counsel is wise. A fool's wrath is known at once, but a prudent man covers the matter. And so we realize that a fool will always think that they're right. You can never tell them anything. They will always try to have the last word, and it doesn't matter what you try to say. You will always be wrong, and they will always be right. Well, that type of situation, the righteous man has no need to argue and has no need to fuss. All they have to do is pray, because we realize that they are wise in their own eyes, but that doesn't make them wise in the eyes of God. And so he who heeds counsel is wise, one that will receive wise words of counsel. They are wise. And not only are they wise, but their lives can be better for it. They will be much more blessed if they heed wise counsel. When a fool is talking, pretty much, you know at once that they're not wise. But a wise man covers, the prudent man covers shame. That one who may know of a situation, but will pray and try to give words of wisdom and encouragement to try to stir you into the right direction, as opposed to continuing you in the wrong direction. And not only that, not bringing it out to slander or to tear down. And so we realize that even all the more in this chapter, it talks about truthful lips. Much through majority of the Proverbs that we have been sharing, it has spoke frequently about a lying tongue and how that is truly an abomination to God. And so we want, here in verse 22, it says, lying lips are an abomination to the Lord, but those who deal truthfully are his delight. I want to encourage you today to start living a life of truth. Truth doesn't always feel good, but it always is good for you. And when I say live truthfully, it doesn't give us an excuse to be nasty just because it's true, but speak truth in love so that the Lord will delight in you. Lying lips and a liar, he despises. And realizing that, even as it stated in Proverbs previous, that a liar is really a jealous, envious person. And so I encourage you today to go forward and try to live righteously. We hope that you have been being blessed by our Proverbs on today. And once again, I want to encourage you to read the whole chapter of chapter 12. We want you to know that we love you and there's nothing you can do about it. Be blessed.